destruction wave, better known as the Kamehameha, the signature move of the main character, but also the signature move of the entire franchise. Hello there, beautiful friends from all around the world. I am your host, Blackenfist, and welcome to the birds and the bees of Dragon Ball. Today, I want to have a discussion of the Turtle Hermit Wave, otherwise known as the Kamehameha. It is probably the most identifiable and iconic things from the entire franchise, and as it is the main character's signature weapon. But as the name suggests, Turtle Hermit, it was not created by our main character Goku. As many of you might have known, Master Roshi was the original developer of the Kamehameha. When Akira Toriyama was writing and drawing Dragon Ball, he wanted to give his main character a signature move. Curiously enough, however, after he had experimented with a number of poses and how this was all going to work, Akira Toriyama credits the naming of the Kamehameha to his wife. The Kamehameha works extremely well for it, considering the fact that Master Roshi was a turtle hermit, and in Japanese the Kamehameha does mean turtle hermit wave. But the Kamehameha is an actual name of mainly the Hawaiian king, whose name was Kamehameha. Because of this significant figure, Akira Toriyama figured that the Kamehameha was a snappy enough name for the final. Master Roshi was the original creator of the Kamehameha, even though he was not the one who really would take this move to greatness. That would be Goku. Interestingly enough, it took 50 years before Master Roshi could develop the technique. Now that might sound like a long time for a normal human lifespan, and that is. However, considering the fact that it's been hinted that Master Roshi has been living for hundreds of years, maybe in the perspective of him, maybe that wasn't so much time. Although it took Master Roshi 50 years, it nearly only took Goku a moment to learn the Kamehameha. Although it did take him a lot longer for him to master it and make it his own technique. Interestingly enough, there is a lot of different ways in which the Kamehameha is charged. A lot of times in early Dragon Ball, the Kamehameha is charged with both palms facing in opposite directions, and when the user finally screams "Ha!", that's when the beam finally shows up. Later variants of the Kamehameha will show them charging the beams up with both of their hands cupped in the same direction, in which a ball of energy already appears in between the cups of their hands. This was a feature that was later on added to Dragon Ball, and some have speculated that this is the Super Kamehameha variant, although there are some exceptions to this, so it is not confirmed. In fact, if you really pay attention in Dragon Ball, there is many subtle differences to what we would normally know as a standard Kamehameha. And we're not talking about full-blown variants here right now, like for instance a continuous Kamehameha, a twin Kamehameha, or even a Super Kamehameha. We're just talking about the standard flavor. Each character adds their own personalization to the technique and changes from character to character, and even from what era of Dragon Ball you're watching this in. There is many ways to do this technique, and in fact, a Kamehameha can be fired from any part of the body. Just use your imagination on that. This was used effectively during Goku's fight against King Piccolo, in which he fired a Kamehameha from his feet. This was unfortunately the only time we saw this, because I thought this was pretty cool, but you know, at least we get to see it. Now, most people will consider Goku to have finally mastered the Kamehameha and made it his own technique truly when he developed what he called a Super Kamehameha. The Super Kamehameha will become the standard for all other variants in the future, so pretty much through all of Z. Now, there's kind of been a debate on what exactly is a Super Kamehameha. Some people argue that there is a certain way the hands are placed. However, upon doing some observation, this isn't entirely true, although I did feel that the way a normal standard Kamehameha was with both cups of the hands facing in opposite directions. I have also found that standard Kamehamehas that have been done otherwise, and Super Kamehamehas that have been done in multiple ways. So I'm not sure if there's a particular hand position for a Super Kamehameha, and others argue that the only difference between a normal and a super is the fact that a super just has a lot more power put into it. Which, quite honestly, if you really think about it, would that mean that by the time of the Buu Saga they're doing super Kamehamehas? This was never really specified, but throughout all of Z, anytime Goku or Gohan were using a Kamehameha, they were probably using a variant of the Super Kamehameha, which was already a variant of the original. The video games kind of added to this, adding their own video game only exclusive variants, which makes sense because in the end, the Kamehameha seems to be a very mendable and adaptable technique. It changes from user to user. Each user has their own, can personalize their own unique way of firing a Kamehameha, and on top of that create their own unique variants and even fire Kamehamehas from any part of their body, although that hasn't been really explored much in the franchise at all, which I do think could be kind of cool. But regardless, the Kamehameha is a very flexible move, much more flexible than people may think. But anyway guys, I hope that you've learned something about the signature move of the Dragon Ball franchise, all the flexibilities and variants, and knowing that this really isn't just such a rigid technique. But anyway guys, this has been the birds and the bees of Dragon Ball, and I'm Blackenfist.